So to achieve the scale of our very big ambition of ranking the top 500 companies on their human rights performance, we've spent the last 2 years developing a methodology to do that. So that methodology is composed of 42 indicators split across 6 baskets of issues. We call them measurement themes. And all of that together adds up to a very comprehensive framework by which we're seeking to assess how companies are performing on human rights. So the first measurement theme is focused on governance and policy commitments. So really looking at the tone being set at the top of the company and whether it's publicly committed to doing no harm and respecting the rights of the workers, communities, and others that it may affect. And it's also looking then at how these are managed as part of the board's role and responsibility. The second measurement theme is then taking those policy commitments and looking at how they're translated into day-to-day practice. And so at the macro level, we're looking at how respect for human rights is embedded across the company, really looking at corporate culture and seeing whether respect for human rights is a core part of the company's license to operate and part of everyone's job. At that micro level, indicators in this measurement theme are looking at day-to-day implementation. What are the specific systems and processes that a company puts in place to firstly assess its risks, to then act on those findings and integrate them internally to respond to what they identified, to track those responses to understand how it's working, and then ultimately to communicate all of that out to the external world and to the stakeholders that want to hear about these approaches to understand whether they're effective and working in practice. The third measurement theme is looking at the issue of remedy and grievance mechanisms. And so this is focusing on the extent to which a company is providing for or participating in essentially righting a human rights wrong when it happens, and really looking at companies putting in place processes to respond to issues early before they escalate and become much more serious. The fourth measurement theme is focused on company human rights practices, and it's therefore industry specific. So in the pilot, it's looking at the agricultural products, apparel, and extractive sectors, and in future years, it'll expand to cover other industries. And here, it's really looking at what are the actual practices taking place in companies to prevent particular human rights risks that are quite likely and therefore need certain steps to be implemented to prevent them from happening. The fifth measurement theme focuses on responses to serious allegations. So it's measuring exactly that. How is a company responding when an external source or a third party raises an allegation that it's been involved in some way in a human rights impact? What is the company saying publicly about that? How is it responding? The final measurement theme is dedicated to companies' overall transparency. And this is really seeking to recognize companies that are being transparent about their policies, the processes implementing them, the practices that they're putting in place, and their responses to allegations. And we want to reward companies for being communicative both about the effectiveness of their actions to date and also their plans for the future.